Hey y'all, I made these bourbon glazed meatballs and they came out so fire. I mean, sometimes all you need is a bowl of meatballs and it just makes everything better. So let's get into how I made it. First, I started off by cutting up my green bell pepper and my onion, and I let those sweat down until they were nice and soft. To a big bowl, I added ground beef, ground pork, and I added in my peppers and onions, and I mixed everything together until it was well combined. I had a lot of the ground meat mixture, so I did mix it all together, and I separated this into two bowls. I added some Jack Daniel's honey seasoning, the chicken rub seasoning, my Taylor's dip dust, Tony's Creole seasoning, of course my garlic paste and Italian herb paste, some paprika, parsley flakes, and some Italian breadcrumbs. I added in some eggs. Of course, I removed that shell, and I just mixed everything together until it was just well combined. Make sure you are generous with your seasonings because you want these to have some great flavor. To a oven-safe dish, I started to make my meatballs, and I used a ice cream scoop to form out the meatball, and I just rolled them until they were all nice and compact. I added them to a pan, and I made extra so I could keep them in the freezer. But once they were ready, I added them to my oven at 375 for about 30 minutes. And for my bourbon glaze, I used some Jim Beam honey, some brown sugar, ketchup, some woo-woo sauce for some good depth and flavor. I used more of the Jack Daniel's honey barbecue seasoning, a little cayenne for heat, and some all-purpose Saison, a splash of apple cider vinegar, and then I used my whisk just to make sure everything was well combined, and I let this simmer on low, and of course taste for flavor and adjust as needed. But once I had the sauce to my liking, I took my meatballs, added them to a pan, and then I just poured that sauce mixture on top, and I let the meatballs simmer for about 5 minutes, and they came out so bomb, you guys. Y'all have to try this recipe. These bourbon glazed meatballs were a 10 out of 10.